Oke, bismillah wa bihamdi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'd. Today it will be the second day of thesis defense, and then our next contender here is Nurbaitty, yeah, and then her thesis title here it is. Wait a second, let me open it first. Your thesis title here it is the Impromptu Show and Tell in Reinforcing Student Speaking Skill, yeah, and then the thesis advisor is Ms. Zaitun, huh? Just your thesis advisor, yeah, and then your examiner here it will be me. And who is your second examiner?
Miss Lydia Tulida, sir. Miss Lydia.
Okay, Miss Lydia Tulida. And then have you completed the thesis defense with her?
Of course.
Okay.
No. I mean tomorrow.
Okay, so you're going to have it tomorrow?
Yeah. I should get a meeting today.
Okay, thank you then. And then before we're going to start this thesis defense, I hope you already watch all the previous thesis defense, so you'll have the overview, what kind of the process that you're going to deal with when joining this thesis defense. Yeah. First of all, I'm going to give you a chance here to explain about your counted thesis using your PowerPoint presentations, and then I'm the one that will share the screen to you. Yeah. And then after that one, you will get all the question based on your thesis, based on your PowerPoint presentations. Yeah, and then let's hope you can answer all of the question in a comprehensive way, so you can pass for this thesis defense. Okay, before we are going to start this thesis defense, let's begin this thesis defense here by reciting basmalah together. Yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let's hope after you conducting the praying here, you will be able to answer all of the question. Best of luck, and then now I'm going to start sharing the screen. Okay, can you see it now here?
Oh yeah, wait.
Okay, there we go. Come on, Betty, time is yours.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you everyone for joining this defense. My name is Nurbaitty. First of all, I would like to convey my best regards to the head of English department and also my examiner here, Mr. Sofian Hadi M.Pd. And I also like to offer my greatest regards to my thesis advisor, Ms. Zaitun. Thank you for all your continuous support and guidance or immense knowledge that to helping me to done this thesis. All right, so here today I would like to present my thesis. The title is already shown on the screen. It is about impromptu show and tell in reinforcing student speaking skill. So talking about speaking, human has a tendency to communicate with others. So how we need a language to deliver the information. And then according to the Armstrong, he stated that language is a system of communication. So in other words, language is the main source that we have to communicate among people. And then one of the most widely spoken language in the world is English. Even English become the lingua franca in many countries. However, English get catch a great attention from our country, right? Is in many sector. For example, is in the education sector, Ministry of English and Culture has a meta policy about the English subject become one of the compulsory subject in starting from the 7th grade for the public school. Moreover, in the private school, they start teaching English start from the kindergarten, right? So when we are learning about language, there is 4 major skills that we need to be mastered. The first one, there are speaking, reading, listening, and writing. According to the Donald and Knell, they separated the skill into 2. The first one is the active skill or a receptive, the active skill or a productive skill, and the second one is a passive skill or a receiving skill. The first one is the receptive skill. This is when we are receiving the language. This skill is we can get from the listening and reading. And for the second one is a active skill, or we are producing a skill, is by what? By speaking and writing. So why am I so concerned about speaking here? Because according to the scriber, that speaking is a more essential rather than speaking is more essential rather than knowing about it. So it means it is pointless when someone know about a language but cannot speak with it. Okay then. And then when we are communicate, we are exchanging the information. So you can go to the next slide, sir. We are exchanging information as it is supported by Brown, Burr, and Joyce. They state receiving, processing, and producing information are a sense of speaking. Speaking itself is an interactive process that allow one or more listener or speaker to exchange information in line with them. There are a feature and phrase. They state that speaking is a typically human act that using spoken language to share or action the ideas. And from of them, I have my opinion about the speaking. Speaking can be a measurement to determine someone's proficiency to communicate the ideas with the spoken language. Okay then. So because the speaking can be measured, as a language teacher, in order to prepare them to communicate effectively, we need to train them by speaking. But the fact in Indonesia, as a non-speaking nation, we get the problem. Is like they have a poor command. They have a poor command of English. It can be seen like they cannot respond by what teachers say or what the question the teacher say, as well as they cannot share their ideas. They cannot share their thought. It is supported by Bunde and Madrid. They claim that speaking is the most challenging skill for foreign language learner because grammar has a long history, has a long written history behind that. Is not only that the problem, we all based my own experience in the practical teaching, we got some problem is like the students are afraid to speaking English because it's like a confident issue they had, and they have a lack of vocabulary and get a boring class, or even they have a loss motivation to learn English because they think English is so hard. So go to the next slide, sir. So this is why I conduct this research. So in order to overcome all those problems, I consider, and at the next slide, I consider an enjoyable experience by using this technique, impromptu show and tell, to stimulate them in speaking. Actually, basically what is an impromptu, what is a show and tell is there is in the class, one student is a bring thing or bring an object, and then they show it and then tell it to the student, and the student it will have a feedback afterwards. Yeah. And according to Mortlock, show and tell is a present a practice. Is like a practice by giving an opportunity for children to practice sharing oral information, oral expression by showing an object or experience. Actually, usually the experience that they have is from their daily life. And is it next, sir? And this is one of the this is according to Tamburi. I still say that one. Like according to Tambury is a show and tell technique was carried out the real life through presentation or talk. The experience of standing up in front of their peers and speaking for a substantial period of time was excellent preparation for real life speaking. So when we try to apply this technique, is like preparing students to have a real life like have they are in the real life to speak up. Okay, actually this this technique is a use it for a young learner, but the best feature of the show and tell, it can be used for all ages. I modify the show and tell into impromptu show and tell, because when we are doing an impromptu or spontaneously, it will have a challenging atmosphere at the class, because they cannot prepare anything when they are speaking, and they have to do it on the spot speaking. Like Flander stated that impromptu speaking is when someone expresses without any prior preparation, and when we are having a show and tell, this is relied on their common knowledge and comprehension on the chosen object or topic, since there is no preparation at all beforehand. And then why do I choose this technique? Because it can enable the capability to think quickly, organize the ideas fast, and speak confidently. Like a Williamson said, that the most by impromptu speaking. Actually, this technique is not only for just a speaking practice, but it also strengthens to think fast, and it's a to think fast and talk without any note or memorization. All right, next, sir. Yeah, here's the map. Yeah, you can open all. So how am I conduct this research? Actually, I conduct this research at SMPN 177 Jakarta. The population that I got is all 7th graders, and they have 7 classes and consists of 214. And to get the sample, I use a cluster random sampling, and I got 7E as my sample. Is a consist of the 40 students. The method that I use in here is a quantitative method, and because and then I use a pre-experimental design, so that's why I only get the 1 class to be my experimental, experimental. All right then. In collecting the data, I use the pre-test and post-test. So in order to know their prior ability on speaking on that class, in the pretest, because of the coronavirus outbreak, the schools already shut down, and then we changed learning from regular learning into the online learning. So I conduct this research by virtual research, by virtual teaching. I'm using a Zoom to teach them from the pretest for the material I got from the syllabus, and for that time I got the material about the descriptive text. And for the pretest, I asked them to describe their hobby or their favorite things. And then because I got 8 meeting in total, and for the treatment, I teach them using this technique with the variety way. And then for in the post test, to know what is the outcome that I get after the treatment, I using a PPT, and in the PPT I use there are several numbers. Then they have to choose it. Then each number is related to the one picture, and in the picture, impromptu or spontaneously, they have to explain who they are, and I give a task for them is like they have to be pretend that they are the relatives. So they have to describe the person from the appearance and their personality. Okay, and after that I get and then to analyze this data, I use independent simple t-test. The next, sir. So after I do the post test and the treatment and the post test, we have the result here. So for the green one here is a for the pre-test. Is it the number of students who get the on the bottom there is a criteria of them. There is a poor, fair, average, good, and excellent. So from the pre-test, you can see there the number of the average is the highest one, right? So after I'm doing the treatment, and then we apply this after I'm doing the treatment, it can lower the average and move up to the good one. The good one is become the highest, and you can see the excellent is also increasing the number. By using after calculating the next, sir. Yes, on the total score of all the students, no, before, sir. Here the total score of the pre-test is 2,790, and when I'm doing the post-test, is increasing, become 3,107. And the total average of the student is also increasing. Is from 78.7, it is 69.75 into 77.67. So as you can see, it's increasing, and from the T calculation also that because the T calculation is higher than the T table, it means that my research is successful. And the next, sir. So here for the conclusion, because we already know the number that is increasing, so we know that this technique is a reinforced student speaking skill at SMPN 177 Jakarta. Thank you.
That's all, baby.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now we're gonna go to the first slide. Yeah. Okay, wait a second. Okay, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now let's start with your title first here, Betty. The title here is Impromptu Show and Tell in Reinforcing Student Speaking Skill. There are 3 or 4, four kind of terms here that interesting to discuss, and then we need to get more elaboration from you. First term here, you are using impromptu or spontaneously kind of show and tell, That was the first impromptu. Second one, show and tell, and then the third here, reinforcing students, and then speaking skill. From your title here, I'm expecting you're finding it will be the unpredictable kind of finding. Why I'm mentioning about unpredictable? Because you are not setting the student here to create some show and tell thing, because it is an improvisation from your students, right? A spontaneous one, how did you decide it here, show and tell, especially using spontaneous and then using impromptu here, that reinforcing student speaking skill? How? Come on.
Okay, because we can see that the result is from, we can compare by the pre-test and the post-test. Before they having that kind of treatment, they speak only like not to, I mean, like, because they have no experience to do it without any preparation, so it's not that as good as they after the treatment, sir, like that. So after the treatment, they become more able, they become more confident because they get used to it, and then after that is a become more clear, and that because this is about a descriptive text, and then I give them the clear one. So I think they become more when they have an elaborate the topic that I give, like that. So I think it's an improvement.
That's all?
Yeah.
Okay, because of the treatment, you can conclude that there's speaking skill here is increased, And then why you were mentioning about show and tell, and then on the previous one you also told me about descriptive text. Why it is not for reading, and then why it is speaking? Come on, try to answer it, please.
Yeah, sir. As I told you before, there is a skill that the active one, right? That is a speaking and writing. And how we know a person is can master a language is directly, then with the speaking. Why I'm not using the writing one? Because the writing one, it can be when you type it. It can be, where is it? It can be exchanged, but when you are talk, it can be delete, like that. So you know the proficiency of someone by mastering the language is the way they speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Since you are mentioning this one here for lower secondary level, right? For the middle school, for junior high school, right?
Yes, it's the junior high school.
Yeah. As far as I concern, or as far as I understand, student in a junior high school or in a middle school or in a lower secondary level here, when we try to ask them, especially without any preparations, that will be really difficult for them to conduct the test. But based on your research, it seems like, okay, without any preparations, as long as you can, okay, you're going to do show and tell now, and then you give them a pre of the topic, and then they can spontaneously speaking, That's that's way that you want to probe here for this research, Betty?
Okay, the topic is a because this is impromptu. The topic is not from them, sir. I choose the topics, and I is a like the description. There is when you can describe a people, describe a place, and describe an animal or thing. So they already got the preview before that. Like for the next meeting, we are going to have a description about people. So they are so I think they prepare it before because they already know because they know the pattern the way I teach like that. And then for the time is not too much sure because we are having an online learning, so I only give them a maximum for 2 minutes or 1 minute because we have a limited time to do it like that. So I think it's not that difficult for them.
So you're giving them chance to deliver show and tell here only 1 minute and 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, it's
yeah.
not a long one. So I think
Uh,
it's not kind of hard for them.
okay, and then how many in total that you got for your student here? You're mentioning, if I'm not mistaken, here is 40 or 41?
40.
40. Okay, and then if we try to multiply here, yeah, 40, yeah, with 2 minutes. So you were standby on the online learning here more than 1 hour. Yeah.
Of course, because
Mhm.
I give a chance for every teacher said for every teacher get a chance to actually is a 2 hours
Two
in the
hours.
regular school but for in the online learning we only got the 90 minutes to
Okay.
teach 90 minutes. So I think is a fair enough when I ask them to do the maximum is a 2 minutes, no more because we have no time, sir.
Okay, so do you mean here every single meeting that you conducted with all of your students? Okay, you come to the class, yeah, opening the class in a Zoom meeting, and then you give them the instruction and then start doing show and tell. Is that way?
Not all of the meetings, sir. I variate all the technique is like they are giving me a video after the class, but I give it the limit time. So afterward, they have to make a video about 1 minute and then they send me because we have a limited time, sir, when I doing the treatment. Not all of my meeting directly show and tell, sir.
Wait a second, you're mentioning not all the meeting consists
Yeah,
of show
some of
and
them.
tell. Some of them. Okay, how many
Uh-huh.
times did you conducted the treatment then? Because
Is
you're
a
conducting experimental kind of research, right? And then it's kind of strange if you are implementing impromptu show and tell, yeah, as the treatment, and then you're mentioning not all the time that you're using impromptu show and tell on that. Come on.
I mean,
Mhm.
I'm implementing all the show and tell, but not directly. I mean, because we have a limited time in here. So because the some is already show me here, but the other is not. So they have to make a video, but I give them a limited time. After the class, they have to directly send me the video like that. I'm implementing every single meeting, but with different ways, sir.
Okay, the next question then, how many meetings that you implemented
Uh,
this show and tell? Come on.
Actually, I get the 8 meetings in total.
Mhm. 8 meeting only.
Yep, a meeting in
Okay.
total.
Anything here consists of pre, post task, or only the meeting? Or do you have extra 2 meeting to provide them with
Ah,
the pre and then post task?
oh, it's include the post test and pre test, sir. So the 6 meeting for the treatment.
Okay, 6 meeting for the treatment. Thank you. Let's go to the next here with your this will be the first chapter, I guess. Yeah, why here it consists of your background of the study, and then you're mentioning many interesting facts, yeah, about the choosing of impromptu show and tell, and then why did you decided to choose speaking also. And the next question for you, um, to be honest, you told me that you were not the teacher and this on the school that you where you conducted this research, right? You are not the real teacher over there, so you are using the school only to conduct the research, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and then before you're going to be able in making a pre-experimental or an experimental kind of research, you need a basic of data first. Yeah, data that consisting of the student score, yeah, their average skill of speaking or any other skill that you want to measure. Yeah, and then you need also to interview the students, yeah, and then you need also to interview the teacher, yeah, to get to know well about what kind of the participant for your research. And it seems like when you try to explain about your instrument, your research instrument in gathering the data, you're only mentioning a pre and then post test, yeah, but you need to do also what we call by observations. Yeah, since you are not the real teaching at that school. Yeah, and then also you need to interview the student, you need to interview also the teacher. How was the process of English learning so far? Yeah, before you are going to conduct the research. Come on, try to answer that one, please.
Okay, because we cannot contact them directly, sir. We own my communication with the teacher and all the school staff is like for the head teacher and the administrator is only using a phone. We are using a virtual thing, sir. So because in this kind of situation, we cannot contact them directly, sir. So I'm asking by phone.
Okay, so you don't have any observation first. I mean,
I only ask.
I mean, when you try to conduct the observations, when you try to conduct the interview, yeah, but for the teacher or the students, you don't have to come to the school, right? Yeah. When you try to do an observation, you can do an online kind of observation, joining their online meeting first. Okay. And then conducting also the interview for the teacher and then also for the students, you may do an online kind of interview. Yeah, so not only mentioning, okay, I'm asking the permission only by phone, sir. It's mean you are not making this research here in a systematic, proper scientific work. Do you understand my point? Yeah, it seems like, okay, sir, I call the teacher, I call the school staff, and then they mentioning, okay, you can conduct the research, blah, 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 without knowing any basic of the participant first, without knowing any average score of the students. Yeah, come on, try to, okay, please try to.
All right then. Yes, actually, I contact the teacher. I'm asking about how the school going, and then actually I come for one meeting before I do the research because I want to know how was the classes flow, sir. For once.
And the previous one, you are not mentioning you came to the school. You were talking, I'm only calling. Okay, come
Yeah,
on, proceed.
I'm going to their Zoom meeting, sir, before I conduct the research.
Okay, so that was the observation. Okay, that was the observation. The instrument in gathering the data, so you are using also observations, not only pre and then post stats. Okay. Next
right,
one.
then.
Next, what else?
Nothing.
That's all? Okay, now let's go. after first chapter, here you are also explaining about this one. It is from Turnbury. This one still related with the first chapter, or this one here, it is the second chapter of your thesis, I think.
The second, sir.
Okay, so this will be the second chapter. Okay, your second chapter, you are mentioning only about the technique, yeah, show and tell technique, yeah, and then you are not mentioning about speaking skill, yeah, speaking skill, especially for lower secondary level, yeah. So you're gonna mention all the element that you mentioned on your title, yeah. You're gonna mention it here, what kind of the problem that facing by the student, yeah, in lower secondary level, especially on their speaking skill, yeah. And then you're gonna mention also here why show and tell it is match, it is relevant with their student speaking skill. Yeah, so not only mentioning about your technique, so you gotta consider all the variable for your second chapter. Yeah, and then next one here for the method. Okay, now we are going to discuss more about this one. Yeah. Okay, wait a second.
Sir, on the second chapter is I already mentioned the speaking before. I mentioned it on the first on the first slide. Actually, is for the second because on the screen is only the show and tell. I do it on the first slide before. I mentioned it.
Okay, so that basic for the background of your study, or it is for your review of the literature. That's different. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk more about your method here. For your method, for all the contender, for the thesis defense contender, I always taught them, yeah, methods of the research, method of the study here will explain all the details that we conducted when we tried to make the research, yeah, because method playing a really important part for us, yeah, so we can understand the research here taking place where it is, yeah. And then second one, when that you conducted the research, you're not mentioning that one here, how long that you conducted the research, yeah. And then out of that one, you're also mentioning about method, quantitative method, pre-experimental design, yeah. Experimental and then pre-experimental design, it will be the same question. What is the difference between a pre-experimental design, a pure experiment? Yeah, come on. Righty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on.
What is it, sir? I'm sorry.
What is it the difference between a pre-experimental design and then another type of experimental research, please?
Oh, in my opinion, this experimental design is use only one sample, which with the experimental like that I do is a only one experimental class. But when you are using experimental design, you have a two, because you can compare between two the class. The first one is for your experimental design with the treatment, and another class is do not using the treatment. That's in my opinion, sir.
Okay, thank you. So the difference is only based on the class that you use to conduct the research. Okay.
For the
Interesting
comparison,
answer.
sir.
Okay. And the next question, when did you conducted this research and then how long did you conducted this research? Yeah, on the previous one you're mentioning, it is around 8 meeting, but when is it you are not mentioning? You are not mentioned when that he conducted this research. Come on.
Yeah, actually, it's been a long time ago on the 2020. It's only
Okay.
2020, sir.
Okay, that's okay. You can mention it. Come on. It is on
Yeah, it's a
2020. Not
it start from the February 2020 until January 2021.
okay. So it is almost 1 year of doing pre-experimental research then. Okay,
No,
thank you very
sir. It's a
much.
3 months, sir. It's a 3 months.
It's 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I come there, is a going to be the holiday before the Christmas. I think is for the next semester. So I postponed that, and then I started again on the January like that, sir.
Okay, so you got many holiday, yeah. You got
Yeah.
many free times, yeah, to complete this research. Okay, thank you. Next one, my next question here, it will be about your analysis. You were mentioning independent sample t-tags. Do you mind, please try to enlighten me? What do you mean by a process of analysis that you conducted for this research here? It is only independent sample of the t-test, please.
Yes. Statistically, that we use the independent sample test is a. I can show you the formula here.
That's okay, come on.
Here.
What does it mean by independent sample of t-test? That's the question. You don't have to show me the formula. Come on.
Okay, is a when you are trying to collect the data, and then you are going to get a t number, the t, what is it, the t calculation is using this kind of formula, sir, to get the t calculation, sir.
And
So I use this one.
okay, so on your analysis, yeah, on your analysis of the finding, you are only measuring all the score of the student score, yeah, before and then after implementing the treatment. Is that way, right?
Yes, sir. We on this sample, on this independent sample t-test, is what we need is only the score from the before and after treatment. I mean, like from first test and the pre-test, and then after that we calculated their, what is it? Wait a minute. Yeah, like we are calculated their average, and then we after that we can get the t-test, the t calculation from that with the formula, sir.
That's all. Okay, next one. Okay, this will be my suggestion for you in the process of collecting the data. Not only using pre-test and then post-test, you're going to put also your observation, you're going to put also an interview, yeah, because all the instrument that you use to gather the data for your research. The data for your research here, for the pre-experimental research here by team, it is not only based on the student score. Yeah, the data you gather it here from the student when you conducted the observations. Yeah, when you give the interview with the teacher and then with the student, that also the data that you use for this research. Do you see my point, Bailey?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next, for your finding. Okay, wait a second. I have to put it here first. Okay. Okay, for this one, for your finding, I guess making this kind of data finding between pre-test and then post-test, maybe it will be more clear if you put also the explanation. Yeah, for example, here, the first, what is it, poor, and then it is the same between the first here, pre-test and then post-test, both of the student score here is consists of poor or it. Yeah. What is it, Baiti?
Oh, this is the criteria, sir. When you get the point, when you get the point, is a like from the 0 until 5, the score is a 5, you get a poor, and the 5 until 7 until 6 is a fair, and then an average, and the good and the excellent until 100, like that, sir.
Okay,
So
so
I put it into the criteria.
okay, so this is the
Criteria of the
criteria. This is the criteria, but on your criteria here, it seems like I can barely read this data here. For example, on the average here, on the average it is 10, it is 11, or it is 13. And then it is the same with the average here on 20. You put it 20 or you put it 19. Yeah, it's not that clear for your data here. It will be more clear if you try to put it on a table. Okay, Betty? And then
actually it's clear enough, sir. See,
what is it?
on the line is a 20, and if you are in the middle is a 19, and when you are on the line again is a 18, sir. So just like that. Is it clear enough?
So which one? In the
So can you
middle,
see?
so it is and let me
You know, there is a multiple too, sir. There is O, there is a 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and when you are in the middle, it like this. For example, when you are go to the average, the pre-test, the green one is a 20.
okay, this
See?
is 20, and then
How about the pink one is a post-test?
the pink one, it is 11 then. 11 or it is 10? Come on.
Yeah, it's a 11, sir, because
It's
it's in the
11.
middle.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's in the middle.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, and then look at this one. The total score 2007 and 90, 2001 So you're gonna put also the gap between the total score. So that will be more clear. Yeah, the gap between 2007 90, 2001 the gap between this you're going to put it the amount of the gap, and then it will be the same also with total average 69.75 and then 77.67. So you're going to mention it here, the gap between the first and then the second, the pre and then the post, and then also with this one t calculation, and then on t table also, this based on the t test analysis that you conducted, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then
But I mentioned it on the thesis, but I forgot to mention it here.
Okay. There we go. Your conclusion, you're putting your one of the documentations while conducting this research. When you put the documentation for your research, documentation is one of the instruments that you use to collect also the data to support your research. So now here you got a complete technique. You got a complete instrument in collecting the data. First, you have a pre-test. Second one, you have also post-test. And after that one, you already conducted the observations. You have also conducted the interview, and then you also got the documentation. So it's a complete kind of technique that you use to gather the data for your research. Do you understand, Betty?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess that's enough for your PowerPoint presentation. And then now we're gonna go to your complete thesis. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing share screen first. Wait a second. But you're sending me 2 files here. So your complete thesis consists of the first file or the second file?
Oh, another one is the appendix, sir. This is appendix. The first one is the complete. That's the complete thesis, and another one is appendix. I don't know if I have to send you the appendix or not, so I send them all.
Okay, that's okay. I'm opening the first document that you sent to me. Okay, can you see it now here, Betty?
Not yet. Oh, yes, now.
Okay. Very good. From the student talent reinforcing student speaking skill. Okay. Okay. All good for this one. And then this one is no, yeah. I can
Oh,
make
yeah. I'm sorry.
it is not a Microsoft Word file here. I can, okay, that's okay. That's okay. So first of all, for your abstract here, all good. The problem here consists on your reference. You got 25 reference, and then 2010 above, I can take that as your reference. 2000 below, that will be not your reference, okay? And then okay, so where's your first chapter? Okay,
You go down, sir.
Your thesis in total is only 55. Wow. This will be the third thesis, I guess. Yeah. For the next, we're gonna have the minimum pages for our thesis. It will be 100. Yeah. Thanks God.
100 with the 100 with
No,
appendix, sir.
100 with the chapter 5 conclusion and suggestion. Yeah, you got only 50. Really, it seems like it is not a thesis, but it is a paper instead. Yeah. Okay. For your background of the study, you're quoting from Armstrong. Our regulation on our thesis guidance book, we gotta put also the page, my dear. Yeah, you gotta put the page of the author or expert book. Yeah, so if you don't have it here, you gotta use another expert. Do not put only the year. Yeah, but you have to put also the page. Yeah, and then from your background of the study, it seems like you were not looking at the thesis guidance books, or you are not even asking your sister. Yeah.
Is it, sir?
One of the requirement that you have to put for your background of the study, you're gonna put also from Al-Quran or from Hadith. Where is it here? You are not putting it here, Baidi?
I think
Why?
it's not compulsory. I think it's not compulsory to put the hadith or other.
You gotta put one of Al-Quran or one from Hadith. Yeah. Okay, Baidi? That's the requirement. That's one of our typical from Muhammadiyah University of Jakarta. Yeah, and
Okay, I can add it.
okay, you gotta add more, and then look at this one also. This is 2009. This is absolutely no. Yeah, you gotta revise it. Yeah, you have to. Okay, it seems like all your first chapter reference here, it is an outdated kind of reference. Yeah, 2006, 2009. Yeah,
I think it's a more than 1,000 is acceptable.
no, we are using 2010 above. Yeah, that's what we use. And to be honest here, for your background of this study, there are many things that you are not delivering well. First of all, it should be about your result of observations, yeah, the condition of the student, yeah, their basic, what is it? Their basic knowledge about speaking, and then also you have to put the percentage of it. Yeah, so that will be a strong background of the study. Why did you decided to use this impromptu show and tell? Yeah, it is because of, okay, they have lack of speaking skill, they have something that need to be improved. Yeah, you gotta add it more here. Okay, Betty, for your background of the study.
What is this? The number of the percentage?
Yeah, the percentage based on the score. Yeah, what I mean here, for example, in a certain class, yeah, from 40 students, there are only 20% that can speak well enough. And then the rest of them, 80% of the students, they still lack of their speaking skill. So that will be one of the basic background that you can put as the reason why did you conducted this research, why did you try to implement here impromptu show and tell. Okay, ready? And then next one for the identification of the problem. Okay, this one, you cannot mention only the majority of students were afraid of speak wrong in English. In other words, their confidence issue. So what is it? It is only your statement, right? What is it that proving? Yeah, what is it that proving this happened with the students? Okay. Okay, Betty. Okay, and then next one, student lack of vocabulary. So what is it? Why did you decided to claim that the problem of the student face here, the lack of vocabulary? Yeah, so what is it that indicating they face this kind of problem? Yeah, and then student anxiety on learning this because they believe it was hard. Okay, why did student think learning English here is hard? Yeah, and then also for most students, the monotonous of the English teaching and learning process was a dull portion. Do you mind enlighten me? What is it with this sentence that you try to convey? Baiti.
Is it monotonous, sir? That's the monotony of the English teaching. The learning is a dull portion. I mean, the class is kind of boring, sir.
Then you come with non-boring kind of teaching and learning then.
What is it, sir?
You come and then you conducted this research here. They can enjoy the process of teaching and learning that you deliver for them.
They enjoy it.
Okay, they enjoy. Thank you. Next, the student lost courage and enthusiastic to involve in speaking learning process. This one also, it is not only the statement, but you gotta prove it. Why? It seems like they lost courage and then they're enthusiastic, yeah, in joining the teaching and learning. And there's the limitation of the problem based on the background that formulates the problem of the research. Okay, it's kind of strange here. Limitation of the problem, and then you are formulating the problem. What is it?
This is one for the limitation, though it's not going to board. I mean, like the limitation is only on the show and tell is reinforcing student skill or not. That's the limitation, sir. So it will not going to another to the another. That's the limitation.
Okay, let me ask you and try to answer it in a correct way, in a clear way. Formulating the problem, it is the same or different with limitation the problem.
The writer formulated, sir. I mean I'm as the writer. I formulated. I mean, like I
Okay,
think
you
that.
don't have to answer that one. Formulating the problem, limitation of the problem, it is the same or it's different. That's the question, my dear, please.
Limitate. Is it different?
Okay, it's different. When you try to put the limitation of the problem, it's simply this research here will be conducted on a certain class, on a certain school. That's what we call by limiting the problem. Yeah. So where that you conducted this research, Yeah, and then on a specific class, and then also on a specific kind of strategy or technique that you use here. The impromptu show and tell, yeah, on a specific class, and then specific school. Okay, Betty, you gonna revise this one. Okay, look at this one. It is only the repetition of this. That's why I'm asking you, yeah? On your problem of the study, based on the background of the study, see, writer formulated the problem of the research. And then it is the same. It seems like you're copying from this one and then you try to put in a limitation of the problem or the other side, yeah? For the problem of the study, there's impromptu show and tell technique with four students speaking skill, okay?
Oh, I think I haven't seen that. Oh my, sorry, sir.
Okay, that's problem of the study. And then the objective of the study, yeah, the objective of the study, it should be answering this one, yeah. The
Yes, sir.
objective, answering problem of the study. Referring to the problem of the study, research was aimed to find out whether or not the impromptu show and tell, okay. Significant of the study, you gotta ask your sister. Significant of the study consists of two terms that what we usually use for our English department, based on theoretically, and then second one practically. Okay, if you put only this one like the writer, student, teacher, and other researcher, yeah, so you gotta separate here which one is based on the theory, yeah, theoretically, and then which one is based on practically. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then for the second chapter, okay, it seems like majority of your reference, you don't have the page for your reference, Betty. Yeah. And then the way, yeah, the systematic way that we use in our thesis guide and books, it should be the year of the books and then also the page. So if you don't have it here, you will try to find another reference that consists of year and then page. Yeah, this reference here is not valid because no page on it. This also the same because you are using this one, Martin and Rose. We are not using this systematic way in quoting the expert. Yeah, in quoting the author. We are putting, okay, Martin and Ross, and then after that one, the year and then page. Okay. And then it is
Yes,
also the
sir.
same, 2002, it is an outdated kind of reference. Yeah, someone at Adnan, it is not the same like this one. Yeah, you're gonna put the year and then the page only. Yeah, outside of this one. Yeah, and then, okay, it seems like this, all your reprints. Yeah, this one, no page on it. This also no page on it. And then this an outdated reprints, yeah. Okay, outdated reprints, I guess you can evaluate it yourself, yeah. Those reprints with below 2010, you gotta switch it, you gotta change, you gotta use, yeah, you gotta use 2010 above. And then also, if your reference here consists only with the year, so you're gonna put the page also. If you don't have the page, you don't have to put that one as your reference. Okay, ready? Okay, I'm not gonna. Okay, this one also the same. Okay, for the theoretical framework, yeah, our common way, our common technique in making theoretical framework, it should be, yeah, you should put also here the graphic, you should put also here the picture that mentioning how that your theoretical framework for this research. Okay. Okay, for hypothesis, this one. Okay, look at this one. While you explain about your PowerPoint presentation, you're mentioning you're conducting this research starting on February 2020, right? And
November, sir. November.
it is November or it is February?
November until January. I told you. November until
Okay.
January.
Okay. I guess you're mentioning February to 2020
No,
till January 2021. Okay.
I told you it's not the 1 year. I told you it's only 3 months.
Okay, so okay, this study year focus, okay. And then this one also, if you are using show and tell technique here, you get a consistent in putting impromptu also. Okay, so not only show and tell, because if you're only mentioning show and tell, yeah, there will be many kind of technique that using show and tell, but you modify the show and tell using impromptu. Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay. Method of the study, this is a great one, Crashwell, but where's the page? You're gonna put the page of this book. Yeah. And then, okay. Okay, here you're putting impromptu show and tell, but the other one you are not putting impromptu. Yeah, you're gonna put it all the time the same. Yeah, the same kind of the way that you wrote the title, so that
Yeah.
will be the
I
same.
think I missed one, sir. I think I
Okay,
missed it.
okay. So you missed the previous one. Okay. Population and sample, this also the same. You're gonna put the page, yeah. Bruce, yeah. So what page here did you use? Technique. Okay, this one also treatment. Yeah, you're gonna put all of it also because you're using documentation, you're using observation, you're using interview also. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's all. For your finding, I guess we are not going to discuss it because you already explained it well enough, I guess, while describing your PowerPoint presentations. Yeah, I guess that's all. Nurbaitty, yeah, I guess for your thesis defense, and then it is only 1 hour. We got 1 hour left, I guess. Yeah, we have to continue the question then. Yeah. Okay. So after joining this thesis defense, Betty, you will have in some only 3 days. 3 days only to revise all of the suggestion, to revise all of the reference, yeah, and then to revise also your first chapter, second chapter, and then third chapter. Yeah, and then after 3 days, I'm gonna announce whether you pass this thesis defense or not. Okay, Betty?
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much one more time. Let's close this thesis defense here. We're reciting Hamdalah together. Yeah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. And then last, wallahul muwaffiq wal hadi ila sabilir rasyad. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.